Every single commercial aircraft that flies in the sky anywhere in the world has a component manufactured by AEQUS in Belagavi. You had an IPO which was oversubscribed 100 times, as far as I remember. The toy market by using that manufacturing capability and out China China.
Like we make 100% in country,
Wow.
100% like aircraft we use.
Welcome, viewers, to the 21st podcast in the chlorophyll series. We started this in 2024 to celebrate our 25th anniversary, but as they say, by popular demand, we continue. Today, we have a manufacturing revolutionary, Aravind Melligeri. Aravind Melligeri is the founder of AEQUS. Let me give you a startling fact. Every single commercial aircraft that flies in the sky anywhere in the world has a component manufactured by AEQUS in Belgavi. It's absolutely stunning. So Arvind started with AEQUS as one of the finest in aerospace, then disrupted the toy market by using that manufacturing capability and out China, then has gone on to create massive hubs, manufacturing hubs in Karnataka for toys, for durables, and now, stunningly enough, for unmanned aerial vehicles. So, Arvind, welcome to the Chlorophyll podcast, and thank you very much for taking time off.
Thank you, Kiran. Thanks for that very glorifying introduction. I don't think that's
Factual,
very
not just glorifying, it's factual.
so. Opportunity, what I call India has this opportunity
Yes,
to be
yes,
a manufacturing hub, and we just we believe we are taking advantage of it, leveraging it. As a country, we have manpower which is needed for this industry, and skills what is required for this industry, and our ability to deploy capital and leverage that, and also convince the global customers to come here to see what can be delivered. No compromise on the quality. That's the key here, and ability to
brilliant. Yes,
deliver on time is what makes a difference ultimately to the customers. You know,
yes, yeah.
and this is
I,
all
I
about
I remember visiting the factory. It is as clinical as a hospital. It's absolutely
yeah.
world
My
class.
way
Yeah.
of looking at it is factories doesn't need to be dirty. You need to be able to eat from the floor is what I basically say to people.
Yes.
We should be able to eat from the floor. Why should it be? You know, and you
Yes.
go to Germany and other places, factories are clean and squeaky clean. So why should we not be? You know,
Yes. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
so
So,
this is
Arvind, we worked with you is as far back as 2014 when we invented this brand name of AEQUS and we invented the idea of ecosystems of efficiency. But what really surprised me, and in fact, more so in hindsight, that you could figure out, you had that vision that if I create an ecosystem, I create a vertically integrated ecosystem, I could be on par or lower in cost than China. This observation, this idea, where did it come from?
I mean it's actually basically a very common sense in my view when you look at it. When you look at anything, what's your contribution to a product? You know,
Okay.
the value add, right? Everybody adds value to a product, either through a machine, equipment, or a people, resources. You just add value to create the final. It could be brand value, it could be marketing, it could be anything. You just have to add value.
Right.
So when I
Right.
look at anything, I split this up where the value is coming from, which portion the value is coming. I want to maximize the value we can deliver it to the customer, whichever we can control. You know,
Brilliant.
they have no reason to go somewhere else because I can be optimizing that piece all together at one time versus each of them optimizing in a smaller section.
Correct.
Economy of scale comes in. That is what the ecosystem is. A vertically integrated product is like all the way from mining, you're integrating into a delivered aircraft part. So just to give an example, You take an aircraft engine, which is made of steel, a component in aircraft engine made of a steel, uh, that comes from iron ore in near Belagavi or in Karnataka, in Hospate, most probably coming out of there. And iron ore is sold at 10,000 rupees per ton or something.
Yes, yes.
63 percentage, content of iron. So then it gets melted and becomes a real normal iron to be used for construction industry. Or you go for the refined, it can be, can get sold for $10 per kg suddenly, you know, to be able to use in automotive. Then you say further refinement and everything, it becomes a steel which can be sold at, $50 per kg. Then it becomes a part becomes machined and become part of aircraft, forged or something, become a part of aircraft, and suddenly that value is like $100 per kg. Then you
Mm.
get machined, that part per kg turns out to be like a machined and finally surface treated and finished, and by the time it goes into aero engine, this thing, it could be $250 per kg.
Wow.
Okay, the question is where that value gets split. You know,
Brilliant. Brilliant.
look at it. So you could have been paying only 10,000 rupees per ton of iron ore, or you can be paying $225 as a OEM per kg of steel, right? So
Correct.
it's a play. So
Mm.
OEM can technically, aircraft OEM can, aero engine OEM can technically own the mine also,
Yes. Yes.
right? But is it
Yeah.
efficient? Then comes to asset utilization, right?
Yes.
So can we use every ounce of every ton of iron ore which comes out of that mine? He cannot,
Yes.
right? So it doesn't
Yes.
make sense for him to own. So it's a commission comes down to ability to write resources to be able to utilize maximum. That's when the ecosystem. So when we build ecosystem here, we put forging facility. As a country, when back in 2008, 2009, when we looked at it, we're doing only 20% in country value add in aircraft parts. There is
Good.
no way we can succeed, compete against the West to do that if we have to do 20% value add. So we laid out, that's when we laid out, like, hey, listen, unless we get maximum vertical integration, maximum value add in country and since in country means basically at that time nothing existed of that nature in the country. So
Yes.
we said we rather do this in in one zone. That's when the whole cluster concept came into picture, ecosystem concept came into picture. So today, we put laid out a 30-year view of what could happen in the aircraft, aerospace industry, in terms of part development, manufacturing. So we basically took that, and over a period of time, if today we have parts like we make 100% in country,
Wow.
100%. Like aircraft wheels, we make 100% in country, all the way from aluminum, raw material, to the forging, the machining, the surface treatment, the spinners, the spinners you see in front of the engine, the front cones, we make them
Yes.
100% out of India. So the point is, it's a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. But West has started this much earlier.
Hmm. Hmm. Right.
On the consumer side, China has started 30 years back. Same way aerospace started 30 years, 50 years back in West. So if we have to do it, we have to build it.
Yes. Yes. To that level.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
efficiency comes only then only you can compete. Because you are competing against the most efficient systems already built over a period of time.
Hmm.
We are making more efficient because in West, these parts could be traveling, thousands of miles to get all these actually different processes done. But whereas in here we're doing in 300, 500 meters, so obviously you're going to be more efficient.
Yes. Beautiful. Beautiful. So taking off from that 30 years ago, Arvind, when you started, and I've heard this from multiple clients, that investors were investing in service brands and not in manufacturing brands. And here you are, you had an IPO which was oversubscribed 100 times, as far as I remember. So, suddenly, how did you imagine that manufacturing would also gain traction, not just with clients, but also with investors? How did you think about that in so many years
We have
ago?
to, yeah, we have to, no, look, when we started, it was all about delivering value to customers. Ultimately, a business is about delivering value to customers, the stakeholders, what I call, all the stakeholders, it has to deliver value. So we knew that no investors would care to invest in manufacturing in early stages. And for umpteen number of years till 2023, we never had any external investors. We put in the money as a promoters.
Wow.
You know, for 15 years, we poured in money here because nobody would even ever dare to invest money in the manufacturing.
Correct. Correct.
Because it's a very long gestation, evolution exists.
Mm. Mm.
And and especially when we're trying to build aerospace industry, aerospace manufacturing, there is lots of trials and tribulations because capability doesn't exist, so infrastructure doesn't exist. Everything has to be built and demonstrated. Only
Mm.
when our base aerospace was humming and everything, that's when we actually asked the investors to come and look at it.
Mm.
Yeah. Then when we needed more capital for the further growth, that's when we tapped the market, where we had done enough to demonstrate that we have ourselves committed. Even today, we are the largest single shareholder in the company, and investor also. Amount of money we have put in is more than anybody else. So the point comes down to is we have a higher stake in the
Yes.
business of cap,
In,
for us to build this business, sustain this business, and we believe in this business.
right. Right.
So you have to, because ultimately investors they have a period of time when they want to make sure they can get the returns. As long as we can deliver it to them, somebody else will come for the next phase of growth.
Correct.
So we have to really bring the right investors. And when we went to the market, we really brought in, when we went to raise, hey, we want the investors who are going to be there as a part of our public, being a public company. So we actually brought in a pre-IPO, the IPO, the public market investors in the
Yes.
IPO two
Yes.
years ago, who could see us, who could align with us, who could
Correct.
see our vision. And that actually helped us to pave way of able to bring them in, you know.
Yes. Yes. So, Arvind, you have used every capability to its fullest. So the uh, precision engineering, you use that to make toys, and you are now, with Hasbro and others. Then you are using that again to do the drones. But you then use something very, very beautiful, that the whole process of manufacturing, of putting up a factory and creating a hub, you did that so well that the government has now said, Mr. Akers, why don't you come to Kopal? Mr. Akers, why don't you come to XYZ place? And now we are already even in Tamil Nadu. What is that? What is that process of mastering manufacturing so well that you are invited by governments to start manufacturing in their countries?
It's look, ultimately we all know manufacturing create jobs, especially the jobs are what needed in the country.
Yes,
And it's a bringing the capital, the process knowledge, and the jobs gets created.
yes,
That's what we have demonstrated in multiple verticals: aerospace, consumer, whether it's consumer toys or consumer electronics, or consumer durables. So
durables. Yes,
ultimately it's about demonstrating that. If we can demonstrate consistently that we can do this, you know, yes, some have longer gestation, some are more challenges than the other, but that's part of life. If everything was easy, everybody would be doing.
absolutely.
And the second part is doing it in a tier 2 tier 3 city.
Hmm.
And because when you do that, really you stop migration of people from these locations to the bigger cities.
Fantastic. Absolutely
you
right.
know and if jobs can be created, we have no dorms here, we have no interest to have build dorms. Why do we need to build dorms and take people out of their home, you know
Correct. Correct.
and put somewhere else, and they come back, and it's just basically, in my view, it doesn't make sense. The
Yes.
only reason we built in the big cities is because it's a comfort of the managers.
Yes. Very
you know
insightful. That is true, Arvind. Yes. They need
and
their
most
comfort.
is not most of these workers are not from there. Just
Yes.
only the managers want to be in the city.
Absolutely right. Yeah. That's very insightful. Yes. They are comfortable in their milieu, And if they can find a job next door, it's heaven for them.
Yeah, I mean, when somebody is sent from west or east to set up a factory here, they look at the CEO or MD where he wants to be.
Yes.
Government city, Hubli, Belgaum, you know.
Yeah. So I describe you as the humble man from Belgaum who has now reached the boardrooms of Boeing and Bombardier. Right. So this worker thing again brings me to another very interesting conversation we had many years ago. You turned around and said, Kiran, I'm not just interested in a brand name and a logo. I want every single worker, whether white collar or blue collar, to live up to the values that the company proposes. And I remember we had to do workshops in Kannada, in Hindi, in English, and you insisted that we create a booklet and that everybody have that booklet. This also is a very visionary way of understanding how a brand is lived up to in behavior. Where did you learn this? Where did
Yeah,
this come from?
it came out of my personal values. It basically got driven by the personal values. Transparency, trust, and respect is something I live by.
Right.
If I don't believe in it, I cannot ask somebody else to believe in it. That's how I
Correct.
look at it. If I'm not going to walk that talk, how can I ask somebody else to do it? You know, when we debated about our values, the basically I took the management team at that time, where all my leadership team was, and we basically debated and agreed on these are the values we're going to live by. You know, and
Absolutely.
we did not reflect ourselves those things, and we wouldn't have done it.
Correct.
you know we have to
Correct.
go deeper into what does transparency mean, what does trust means. It's how
Yes.
do you
Yes.
deliver. We have to very very articulate that piece,
Yes.
but that was the principally that's what it is. And today there is no second thoughts in the organization. If I see anybody not living with these values, I don't think they'll be around. If we come to know, there is no second thoughts about it. The values are sacrosanct to me
Yes.
you
Yes.
know
In fact, one of the interesting things I happened to me after the workshop was one of the workers came and said, "Sir, this is very nice. You have explained everything. What should I do if my boss doesn't live up to it?" And we had to then create
yeah,
this system of an ombudsman that he can go up to the ombudsman and say,
exactly.
XYZ boss is not living up to it.
Yeah.
Which I thought
And that's
was
why we are doing three. We are doing 180 degrees, 360 degrees
correct.
to get the feedback now, right? So that was
Correct.
all implemented in there. So
Yes.
because
Yes.
it's a peer compare peer review happens also at 180 degrees, 360 degrees are happening. Because I want ultimately, and also we put in their KRA first few years at least the managers to measure on the
The
from the
value.
perspective, the
Ab-
value perspective, right?
Absolutely.
Then
Absolutely.
20% or something I remember at the time. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's a but but one of the biggest challenge is also we did that because it was a small cohort of people, whatever it is, several, still 1,000 plus 1,500 2,000 people we had. But the point is, when you go to a new location, whole new team comes up, getting them aligned is something is a something. When we set up in Hubli, very quickly we grew a couple thousand people now there. you know
Yes. Mm.
like the other day I was telling, okay, I want to bring the KRAs back in here to drive it. you know
Absolutely.
so because it's important, because when we bring in so much new blood, it gets diluted, because they
Mm.
all come from different background. you know there are no intention of doing wrong things, but just making sure everybody aligns with the same system is key.
Mm. So this investment in human beings, as far as I remember, Arvind, extends beyond AEQUS in your case. You have a foundation that has invested heavily in education. So again, this idea that whatever good you want to do, you don't have to go to the city. You can do it in Belgaum. Talk a little bit more about that activity.
Yeah, actually my wife basically leads this foundation, and basically the idea is, look, the ecosystem is expanded to community also, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
these people, my people live my equals live in these villages and towns. They come in the nearby villages, 60, 70 villages they live by within 60 kilometers radius. They come every day, go back every day. And if you look at infrastructure perspective, the education, public school perspective, there is not in great shape.
Mm.
So we cannot rebuild everything, but the point is, how can we help teachers, you know, to impart better education? How can we bring labs? So we partnered with Agastya Foundation on the
I
science
see. I
education
see.
side, and then we are partnered with. Then we went doing this then after school kind of programs, because kids get out of school, then they don't really have anything to spend. After school programs have been done. So we are partnered with Pratham also to impart
Oh,
some of the programs.
beautiful.
So look, I mean, the idea is to there are enough people who have gone and done it. How do we take specific things which helps our ecosystem to develop? And we launched a Hamara Gaon program, kind of a program in Koppal area, now in launching here also, where mothers, the basically the my wife keep telling me by the by the by the second or third year, kids start forming, you know so
Mm.
unless you get them to start, educating at that time, right things, you know,
Beautiful.
even so the mothers program they have created, so mother group and other stuff through
I
Pratham
see.
have done that. So supporting all these things which helps, idea is to bring a whole ecosystem, means they should be able to graduate, we should be supporting them, they should see us as a company has been there through their life. I'm
Mm.
not, we can always give opportunity to them. And we have a
Yeah.
10th grade, then we have scholarships later, 10th grade curricular career career planning kind of pitching. We tell them what are the options they have, all the type of help we provide. Then also the scholarship when they get into the deserved students into
Beautiful.
into engineering program, whatever program they get into. So do that. So it's about completely supporting the whole community around us. Wherever we are operating, we have these programs running. So that way they have somebody, and then you have program. We run notebooks. We
I
give the notebooks to the kids, every year. So because some of them they cannot even afford to get the notebooks, you know,
mm.
the government is supposed to do it, but government has their own constraints to do it right way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we just make sure that they have at least something to write in, for
Yeah.
all the subjects what they have. So all those several programs we run, but ultimately we believe it's investing in our ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whether
So
it's
in a way,
whatever it
in
is.
a, yeah, yeah. In a way, you have redefined ecosystems of efficiency into ecosystem of life. You
Yeah,
really redefined the meaning of ecosystem.
we live here, right? So that's what I'm saying. When I'm in India, I'm here. I'm in Belgaum. I'm in Hubli. I mean, I need to feel good about what we do here.
Absolutely.
It is we are benefiting as a company, and community should benefit. The whole ecosystem should benefit. All the stakeholders are benefiting.
Yes. Talk a little bit about the defense thing, Arvind.
Yeah. I mean, look, ultimately, we have been predominantly focused on the commercial aerospace from day one, because that's where the volumes are. You need to can build scale with the volumes when they exist. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
aerospace is a high volume, a low volume business. Within aerospace, commercial aerospace is a high volume, so
Correct.
called.
Correct.
You know, so we cannot build capability and everything on the low volume. So that's why we went commercial aerospace. And the defense, especially in India, is a very long gestation, very unpredictable, predominantly. And obviously in the recent times government has pretty much said that they want to do more in India, Atmanirbhar Bharata and all that thing programs are coming. But we don't want to do what we are doing in commercial aerospace in this, so, component level
Okay.
and everything. So we decided to do a system level activities. System level activities is where we are doing on a. So that's why we did this joint venture with Excel Partners in the Vegas Defense to launch a platform where basically we are bringing in the various drones capabilities from various partners around the world, indigenizing this, Indianizing this pretty much to make sure that it meets each of the services requirement.
Okay.
Kamikaze drone, whether it's another type of drone, whatever a specific requirement, because there are so many different requirements the services have, defense
Right.
services.
Right.
So we need to have very specific solution for each of these. No one drone can solve everybody's requirement.
I see.
You know, so where the border has a requirement, high altitude has different requirement. You know, the naval has different requirement. So it's all various things. So we have to have a right solutions there. So we work with the right partner. The Ajna is the entity which we have formed together.
Yes,
We
yes.
work with various services and identifying the requirements and making sure the right solution for them. You know? So that's what we are. So we're going to be we are the operating partner. So we will manufacture these things, you know, and support them.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. So, last question. How has Arvind changed ever since he started AEQUS? And what would he do different, if at all he had to do it differently?
Well, look, the AEQUS was not like a start. Like remember, we came from Quest Global, right? Quest
Yes,
Global was 97 as services business. It started with myself, Ajit started
yes,
this
yes.
business, and it was Quest Global Manufacturing. Then then we rebranded into AEQUS in 2014. So it has been all been evolutionary.
Yes.
There is no one magic bullet, Kiran, I can say that changed anything, right? It's like every day, basically I say it's a rut every day. You have to keep the grind, going through the grind every day. Every opportunity we need to evaluate, how does it fit into our overall strategy, where do we go,
Right.
where does it take you. We haven't There's nothing called end goal in this. you know
Yes.
it's a
There is no
basically,
finish line.
it's our own conviction that what can be done. What is the risk and rewards kind of a thing. What is big, whatever my stakeholders will see this as. you know we are being ourselves the biggest shareholders. We need to do what is right. Apart
Yes.
from
Yes.
rest of the sector. So it's all been evolutionary. So it's nothing one thing I can say has changed anything. That's what I say. Even IPO is just part of journey, I say. It's just it's
Mm.
part of evolution of a company. So
Yes.
we need more capital. That at least we have more access to different sources of capital. You
It's
know,
just new
but
set of stakeholders. Yeah.
yeah, it's all about continue to evolve this business and do us. There's so much opportunity. So my biggest problem is to see saying no to many of them. Then that's my problem because everything in this business needs capital, management, team. You know, then gestation period.
Mm.
So every one we do something, 10 or 100 we might say no, unfortunately.
My
You
God.
know,
Yeah.
so that is a challenge we face, and but it is the only way we can manage ultimately. You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
so
Because
sometimes I say like let's look at it, then I say pull back, say no. Sometimes I send email, I tell them okay, don't look at it. It happens. We're so as an entrepreneurs, we want to make sure that we look turn
yeah.
every stone, and make
Yeah.
sure there is opportunity. But it's a more of a ability to pull back, hold back is what it is because there is so much is happening across the board.
Yeah.
And looking back, man, I don't know. I love whatever we have done. How we evolved even from starting Quest, evoluting into manufacturing. Then further growing, then developing whole infrastructure business. The whole ecosystem being established by them. So they became more of industrial part. So it's it's all about for me solving problems. What I see.
Right.
Customer
Right.
problems. Somebody else, hey, becomes as long as it creates value, we are there. We are a service. I look at a service. Only thing we are not done is IP,
Mm.
intellectual design. We've not done that. It's something which as a country, as a company, we all have to do some point in time. But for that,
Mm.
I need to build scale, systems,
Mm.
processes, and then
Mm.
choose what customer problem I'm going to solve. You know,
Mm.
in
Nice.
that side.
Yeah. Yeah. So Arvind, in in private, I have thanked you many times for including chlorophyll in this magnificent journey of yours. Now I'm going to thank you publicly. Thank you, Arvind. Thank you very much for this
Thank you.
opportunity. And may AEQUS literally touch the sky.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I appreciate all the support you have provided in coming up with the brand. We never knew there is a process of coming up with a brand.
Yeah.
You educated us. We did that, and when we started. My wife wanted to start the school. We came
Yes,
back again asking for
that
Ultra.
is beautiful.
So it's like it has been a journey. So I say if we need to come up with a brand, I tell just go talk to Kiran, figure it out. They have a process to do it. If there is a process, why not use it? Is my what I say.
Yeah, yeah. The most memorable thing, Arvind, is when we launched it, you had called people from Boeing and Bombardier and all of those.
Yes,
And
yes.
one of them had interpreted the name AEQUS in a very different way. He said, I love it. There is quality in the center, there is US on one side, and there is Asia and Europe on the other side. I said, we didn't mean it
Because
that way.
my board member Klaus Richter was the CPO of Airbus at that time. Now he's a board member of us. So it's it's very interesting. It's also a lot of people thought it was coming out of Quest. We kept that, but it was nothing to do with that, right? It was a
Yes,
complete mode of you know as a
yeah,
process is one thing.
it's a
So
complete
how did it come?
reflection.
That's one thing. It was just a process.
Yeah, yeah. It is a total reflection of your belief system.
Yeah.
This ecosystem. Yeah, yeah. Equality in the ecosystem. Fantastic.
So thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
Arvind. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Bye.